Hey there, this is Sarah Kaiser from LeBou Sewing Center, and today I would like to talk about the compact digital dual feed from Brother and Babylock, and I would like to compare it to the previous version of the digital dual feed foot. So this one here is the new version, and they are calling this the compact version, and this was the previous version, so the one that probably came with your machine unless you have purchased one of the very new machines that just came out. So some things that are different about this. So we can see that it's more narrow. That is going to make the bulk of the difference between the 2 feet. They both are going to plug in the same, and everything else about this part, so this is exactly the same. It goes on the machine the same. The feet that snap on and off are exactly the same. So they just snap on to the bottom. And again, the versions that we had prior to this are exactly the same. So they both fit. So the redesign comes in this package. So yesterday I had the technician actually take the covers off for me so that I could physically see inside what was actually different, because I was just curious. So the new claim to fame is that this is quieter and that we have the ability to do some backwards motion stitches that we did not have the ability to do before. And that is true. However, there is an update that is available for most of the machines that accept a foot like this, which is allowing this foot to be used on those same stitches that the new version is being used at. The new update also claims that it makes the foot quieter. I do believe this to be true. I don't believe that it is a substantial noise difference. And the truth is the issues that I had with this particular foot here never really had to do with anything that had to do with the sound of the machine. It always had to do with the bulkiness of the foot. So for me, when I would use this particular foot here as I was sewing, what I found happened is my fabric sometimes bunched up and it got caught on here. Or if I was working on a binding piece or something that was close to the end, I always felt like my fabric was sort of coming up underneath the back part of this foot and sort of getting caught over here. So with the new redesign, that's a lot less likely to happen because of the difference in the angle of the foot here. So you can see the majority of the space that they took off the foot was from this left side here, and they drastically angled this portion over here so that if anything does bump up against that, it's going to deflect it much better. So if your reason for not using this foot was because your fabrics were getting stuck over here, then you might find it worthy to purchase a new compact version. If that was not your issue, then there is absolutely no reason to update to the new compact version, because that is really the only thing that you're going to gain. All of the ability to do the different styles of stitches are going to be gained with that free update that's available on the Brother or Babylock website for your particular model. And again, that's going to be for the machines that have this style of foot already. If you never had the ability to use this foot, that update isn't going to do you any good. It's not going to create the opening in the back of the machine for you to plug this in. So we took the feet apart. So on this particular style foot, when we took the covers off, there was a really big circuit board over on the left side of here, and that made up the majority of this space that is over here. On this particular foot here, that circuit board has been condensed and it is now in the back part of the foot, which allowed them to make a significant change over here. We did notice that the motor that's inside the foot is substantially smaller with this than it is with this. I have not noticed any difference in the actual sewing quality with the different motor being a little bit smaller versus the bigger one. So I don't believe that anyone who may or may not have both of these feet, I don't believe that you're going to notice a lack of power or that the machine foot doesn't actually work the way that it's supposed to. I just think that you're going to notice that once you've done the update on your machine, everything is going to be a little bit quieter, and again, you're going to open up your ability to do a few more stitches. And I will throw up a picture of some of the different stitches that were not available before that are available now on one of our other model machines. So that really is the difference between the two digital dual feet is the narrow version here. So this has, again, it's smaller, hence the reason that they're calling it the compact foot. You are still not going to be able to do any of your character decorative stitches. So if that was the reason that you didn't use this foot here, you aren't going to be able to use any of those stitches if you were to upgrade to this particular foot here. That's not going to open up those possibilities for you. That's where that dynamic walking foot is going to play a part, and you will have the ability to do a bunch of those decorative stitches. Again, you do get the ability to do some decorative stitches with this that we did not have before, but it is still only in the utility side of your machine. It does not open up those character decorative stitches. I hope that helps explain a little bit about what the differences are in the foot. I will do a little bit of sewing on this. It's doubtful that you're going to notice a significant audible difference between the 2 feet. The machine that I'm going to be using is going to be the Luminaire, and it has already been updated, so it should be substantially quieter. Like I said, I do not believe that you will notice a difference over this particular video. You probably have to be sewing at your machine prior to the update in order to see anything. And again, on a video, it's kind of subjective as to what you can and cannot hear. So in just a moment, I will put the foot on the machine, and I will do a little bit of stitching, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I have the new version of the foot on the machine right now, and if you are looking for a video on actually how to install this foot, I do have a separate video that talks about attaching the feet, attaching the machine, the foot to the machine, and then plugging it in. This one is just a comparison between the 2 different versions of this foot. So I'm going to show you one of the stitches that we were not able to do previous to this update. And you can see that it does roll back and forth now. So you are able to do, like I said, a few of the decorative stitches will be available to you. Now, again, comparing this to that dynamic walking foot, which is the newest walking foot that you do not need to plug it into the machine. So that would be this style here. So obviously they are both a little bit smaller than the previous version. This one also has the snap-in feet. So I just wanted to point out, so I have the open toe foot on here right now. So you could see when I was doing the decorative stitching, that is the open toe version of this foot. It is substantially different than the open toe version on the dynamic style walking foot here. So if you are comparing the two, there you go, you can see this right here. This is a lot more open inside. So I know I do have some people who like to sew with their walking foot on a lot, and they like to do some of the practical types of stitches on there. So I have a little applique piece here, and I typically applique with my open toe foot by moving, by selecting my blanket stitch and then moving my needle position all the way over to the right so that I can hug the edge of the foot. So in doing so with this particular foot, it is a little bit harder to judge where everything is going to be, just because that open toe is not, it's not as open as a traditional open toe foot would be. So I'm going to just slide this all the way over to the right. So this is where I would normally put my stitch. So I have just dropped the needle down here so that I can make sure that I'm getting the stitch where I want it. And this is my standard blanket stitch. So you can see that this foot does move up and down and forward and backwards. And because I'm going slow and because we are moving backwards, that is a rubber track back there. So when you are going slow, the rubber does make a little bit of like a rubber grinding noise. That is totally normal and happens with the new version and the old version. So I don't think that I would use this particular foot to like take the place of regular sewing for me, because I do find that the open toe part is not as, it's not necessarily as user friendly as this style would be, but it is really nice. The stitch in the ditch option or the edge stitch option is really a great tool on this. So if you wanted to stitch down some binding with this, or you wanted to do some top stitching with this, this would be a great choice. So I'm gonna slide that foot on here. There we go. And I have just some material here folded, nothing too special. All right, and I like to do top stitching with like a triple stitch. So I'm going to select the triple stitch on the machine here, and it automatically moves it all the way over to the left. I obviously do not want it to be over to the left because of where I have my fold, but I am going to place that. So I have my needle position moved over to the +5 here, and I am just going to do a little bit of stitching. So again, if I were doing some top stitching, or maybe I wanted to do a straight stitch to hold my binding down, one of the really great things about this particular foot is that it's solid. So there's not a lot of play in here, so it doesn't have a lot of wiggle. If you have ever used a brand of machine that maybe isn't snap-on feet, that is probably the one complaint that we get with our feet, is that there's a little bit of give and play in a standard foot. just because of how they snap on. So some people don't find the stitch in the ditch feet or edge stitching to be maybe as precise as what they were used to using. But this is very, very solid, and a nice replacement to do your top stitching. And there we go. So you can see that line, it gives you a really sturdy, great line to use. And again, this is that stitch in the ditch option that you can buy if you already have this. And that will give you, like I said, a really nice straight stitch. So it will work really good for binding. Looks good on the front, looks good on the back, and will allow you to stitch super straight lines for either stitching in the ditch or edge stitching. I don't tend to stitch in the ditch very often, but I do use these for stitching in the ditch most of the time. So as I previously mentioned, I don't know that there is a huge reason to change between this version of the foot to this version of the foot, unless your complaint was while you were stitching with this particular foot, you found that your fabric tended to get stuck on the edge here. So, and again, that a lot of times just depends on the style of stitching that you may do. One of the things that I do with this particular foot is some edge stitching. And so that was my number one complaint, is that when I was at the edge of my fabric, it tended to get caught up over there. That does not happen with this one. It's not anywhere near the edge, so it doesn't tend to ride up or pull. And if it gets close to it, again, you've got that really great graded edge there, so it doesn't tend to catch anything. So I hope this helps explain the differences between the two digital dual feed feet and what you can and cannot do with them. We do have a new dynamic walking foot coming. I have not seen it yet. I do not believe that it is any different than this. I think the only thing that they have done is they have added, so this one currently comes with a standard foot and an open toe version. And the new version is going to come with 4 toes inside. It's going to come with an open toe, a standard foot. It's going to come with a stitch in the ditch or edge stitch version, and then a 1/4 inch foot as well. And again, these are snap-on, just like this one here, so they do make it super easy. And they are supposed to be coming out with a 2-sole kit. So if you already purchased this version, you would be able to add the additional 2 feet to it. You would not need to purchase an entire new foot. So once again, this is just a little bit of an update on how they have changed the walking feet for the 2022 lineup, even though it's 2021. They're calling this the 2022 lineup. So I hope this helps clarify a little bit of the differences. Again, the new version versus the older version, and then what's coming up with this one. And we hope to have all of these in the shop soon. This one is not in stock yet. This just happens to be one that came out of one of the new machines. So we do have that here. We are happy to place an order if you are looking to get an upgrade or add a new walking foot to your arsenal of feet. And again, we hope to have them in stock very soon. Thanks again for watching.